Hello team! Welcome back to another Owen Does F1 race review, this time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Now in the comments of my last video I saw some mentioning about the framing of the camera, so I've tried to move it back a bit. This is about the furthest back I can get myself and the camera, so I'm afraid this is the best it's going to get for now. But hopefully in the future I'll be able to get set up with some better framing. Now this race review is probably going to be a bit of a short one because, well, it was a pretty boring weekend, but we've got a bit to talk about with the format and a bit to talk about with what happened at the end of the race. So let's get into it. First off, let's start with the format of the weekend. It's quite controversial because pretty much all of the drivers hated it. I didn't actually see any drivers saying they enjoyed this format. I also didn't like it. I think the general consensus was that it didn't really work out very well. I liked the idea behind it of having more sessions that actually count towards something, but I found it hard to follow when you've got two qualifying sessions, and I didn't like there was some rules about the tyres, which meant that when Lando got to Q3 in the sprint shootout that he then couldn't participate because he didn't have any fresh soft tyres left. So I don't know, maybe it could be better if they tweaked it a bit, but yeah, I wasn't a fan either. And Charles Leclerc certainly wasn't a fan of the hats.
Come on, Charles, you've got to wear the cap. Yes. No pole trophy like normal, but he's taken the shootout. That's immediately removed.
So then we had the actual race where, again, it was a pretty boring race as they go. Perez, as per usual on street circuits, was very good, very strong. Max was the only driver who could keep up with him, and even then he wasn't able to keep up with him enough to get past him. So it was a very good race from Perez. We also saw the Ferraris still looks good in the longer runs, with Leclerc taking Ferrari's first podium of the season. It's crazy to think that this is their first podium of the season. I think before the start of this season we thought they were going to be up there nearly every race, but they're finally up there. Hopefully someone can put a challenge to Red Bull, because the way this season is going, they're going to win every race. And also, the FIA are now on fraud watch for what happened at the end of the race. It was clear to everyone that Ocon still needed to pit, having not completed his mandatory pit stop. He's well within his rights to still come into the pit lane that late, yet all of the cameramen are out blocking the entrance to the pit lane. But shout out to Ocon for hitting his braking point and not running any of them over. Now on to my driver ratings. Now, they're probably going to be quite wrong, so go easy on me. I watched this race before the football in Manchester on my phone. Didn't have much sound, so I might be missing some context to why some drivers did so badly. But just from seeing the race with my eyes and reading through the results again after, this is what I've thought of every driver's weekend. And these are for the weekend as a whole, not specifically the main race. And finally, a little roundup from elsewhere. In Formula 2, we saw a superb weekend from Ollie Behrman. He was fastest in practice. Got pole position in qualifying, came from 10th to win the sprint race and won the feature race from pole, picking up nearly every point available, just missing out on the feature race fastest lap. However, in that sprint race, I'm supporting Dennis Hauger this year, and it was very upsetting when, from the lead with 3 laps to go, he put it into the wall in turn 1, taking himself out. About 3 drivers behind him also ended up out, and Ollie Behrman swooped through for the win. It's a great weekend for him, sad weekend for me. And if you're a Dennis Hauger fan, it's rough because he had the incident with Martins in Australia. He's missed out on about 25 points now through silly little things that shouldn't be happening. That's all from me. Make sure to follow the Twitter and check out the TikTok. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, tell your friends, and have a great rest of the week. And I'll see you all in the next video.